Hi, I'm Lalene Kay. I'm the director of the Cleveland Music Therapy Consortium up here in Berea, Ohio, where it's sunny and warm, which I think it probably is for all of us right now. I've been in this place for about 33 years as the director of the music therapy program, and I've also been lucky enough to lead the Special Learners Committee of the Ohio Music Education Association for the past several decades, and have been very, very happy to work with music teachers and just teachers in general all across the state of Ohio in using music in meaningful ways for their kids with different types of learning issues, behavioral issues, and physical issues as well. So I'm going to get this started and we'll see how it goes. This is a whole new area for me, so please bear with me. Why do we use music? What's a reason? Music is a whole-brained experience. It really, if you put those electrodes all around your head, you'd find out that your brain is on fire when we use music. When you just put on music and you listen to it and your brain is connecting with it, it connects with so many different parts of your brain. Your memory, it's searching out why you know, how you know, the cognitive side, what's the song saying, the rhythmic side, your motor experiences, tactile. It's an amazing, amazing art form that really does touch all of the brain. So it's a great way to engage people in a shared experience and to kind of define an area. Active participation in music, whether it's active listening or actually music making, can really help to strengthen your own mindfulness as well as emotional regulation, both which are those kind of cognitive dialectical behavior therapy strategies, which are really big right now. We've been using them a long time, but those are the new terms that we use. Music can distract us or can kind of take us away from things that maybe are in our brain that are keeping us from focusing. You might probably use music when you do this yourself. You put on music and all of a sudden you kind of push away all of the distracting thoughts. Maybe they're negative thoughts, or maybe they're just things that are stressing you or causing you anxiety or just keeping you, stopping you from being able to move ahead. And music can often do that spreading out because, again, it works with the whole brain. I'll give you an example that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but women in labor and delivery, trying to get them to focus on the delivery of the baby, what it is they need to be mindful of. So mindful of their own body and being able to just be aware of when the labor is intense, when you're in that transitional labor type of feeling, and being able to understand the timing of all of that. Anything that's outside, like, oh, where's the crib? Oh, I didn't do this. Oh, hey, did you get the car keys? Oh, did we lock the car? Oh, did I remember to pack? All of that stuff, if you have used music to help yourself relax and focus on the labor, all of that stuff is pushed aside, because here your brain is in so many ways trying to listen and be at one with the music that all those outside influences are likely going away. One of the things that I know is a concern for a lot of teachers, classroom teachers, music teachers, anybody that's coming in contact with these kids trying to come back to school after such a long time away, are the conflicts and the anxiety producing experiences and the traumas that maybe they have been exposed to more than normal in their homes because they've been home so much. I think we need to realize that the classroom is a terrible, probably just inappropriate place to try to address individual conflicts with individual students. Maybe as a group it might come up and it can be worked through, but I think that it's best to use therapists and counselors to actually do that. So what I'm going to propose today is using music as a way to define a space or a classroom or a group which is welcoming for the student to come in, take off all that baggage, take off all of those distracting thoughts or those thoughts that are really keeping us from moving forward, and being a part of a goal-directed community. During the time that we're currently living in, I would always say singing, let's all sing, let's get our breathing going and get that diaphragmatic breathing and getting the oxygen going through the whole body, great idea. Not so much right now. Wearing a mask, great idea. When you wear a mask, you might have a little bit more trouble making a sound because you are a little bit muffled, but it's still better than not making a sound. I suggest that you try humming. Humming with your mouth together, your lips together. Less coming out of your mouth, less opportunity for any kind of transitional effect of your air, your droplets to someone else. So I think the humming is probably easier, humming along with songs rather than actually singing words and singing out like that. Using recordings to music, I tell my music therapy students, try to do everything live. Well, okay, let's go the other way. Using recordings so that they create the volume and the sound, and you as the teacher or the leader can help by putting on the recording, choosing the recording, and maybe leading the group in some kind of creative humming or music creating, active music making that doesn't involve singing. Obviously, appropriate distancing is important, which is very different from your typical choir or your typical band or orchestra where we're all sitting together, or just in our traditional, what we've grown to know, classrooms. So appropriate distancing is going to be important. With that appropriate distancing, try to keep so that people are able to see each other, because that's the only thing that we have to be able to really communicate now. And then movement, if you're going to move, getting up and just standing in back of the chair, or staying seated and using props to move so that you're not just moving your hands or your feet, but you're moving extensions of those. It might be scarves, it could be streamers, it could be puppets. All of those things could be opportunities to kind of change the way we do things, since we're trying to stay in one place and we're trying not to sing. Meaningful music activity is something that goes, we're going to go all the way back to Abraham Maslow. Some of us remember Maslow from our days in psychology and his hierarchy of needs. And you've seen this demonstrated in so many different Facebook places as kind of a triangle. And we look at, first of all, that idea of basically safety and being able to feel like you have food and clothing and shelter. The next thing is safety and security. Safety and security here has to do with hearing a familiar song. Maybe it's not familiar to everybody in the group, but it might be familiar to you. So it's part of your playlist, or one of the kids in your class, it's part of their playlist. So it could be a familiar song. It could be a familiar artist. It could be a familiar instrument. And certainly hearing your voice as the teacher is going to be safety and security if that student is familiar with your voice, whether it's singing or speaking. That's going to give them some sense of safety and security. Return to, well, we'll call it normalcy. I'm going to try to avoid that now. The next level in the Maslow hierarchy is love and belonging. Love and belonging is that feeling like you're connected with other people. Of course, we are working at a time when we're trying to do physical distancing, so love and belonging is a little challenged. One way that we can do that is by offering everybody a music experience that we can do together. So the music kind of ties us together, and it creates the bridge between all of the people, because we may not be able to hold hands and do things. We hold on to music and we do things that way. The next level that Maslow gives us is the mastery of skill, feeling the confidence that you are able to do something, that you're able to do it on your own or work independently. Making music, making choices about music are two great ways that music offers that mastery of skill. When you're able to choose something and it works, that elevates your self-esteem, that elevates your self-confidence, and it gives you a sense of control. How many of us know people who really feel like they need a little bit of self-control and control of the environment right now? Yeah, we've all felt, I think, at one point or another over the past several months, like control has really been ripped out from under us. And we're just waiting for someone else to tell us what to do, how to do it, where to go, when to go there, how to clean our groceries, how to get our food, how to greet our neighbors. It's been a time, and it's going to continue to be a time. So being able to give our students some sense of control and mastery of skill could be really essential to them being comfortable and feeling like they can move ahead in the school setting. The last piece is the big one that Maslow talks about, and that's self-actualization. Being able to have an opinion, being able to feel like this is really meaningful to me, that this is a part of me. Self-actualized is kind of all of these other things rolled up in a package, and that we're contributing and we're also being fed, I guess, is the best way to say self-actualization works. So it's a time when we feel pretty comfortable, like there's a give and take in our environment. Very important. We're going to start with some C's here, and one of them is not COVID or coronavirus. We've heard a lot of that, and we're going to take that C and try to give it a more positive spin. I called this program a sea of possibilities, and now you're going to get the C of possibilities. Getting a sense of control by using music as a way to, like, choosing music, creating a playlist, having students be able to choose like the song that they want to have playing when they come into the classroom, or the song when they transition from English to math, or the songs that they want on when they're eating lunch at their desks, which is very different from what they've done in the past. The song that they want to play when they're leaving the classroom at the end of the day. What do they want to go out with? What's their like exit music? Something to get them motivated and to get them excited about coming back the next day. This could be something that classes could decide together. They could have different people make those choices, different teams make those choices, and then maybe on a rotation, those songs could be played. And so everybody at some point during the week can anticipate that their song is coming, whether it's the song that comes on when they come in the building, or the song as they're leaving the building, or one of the songs during lunch. Choice. Music offers us such a lot of choices. We can choose songs. And you know, even in your own classroom, even though you have kids of similar ages, they come from a similar environment, maybe they live in similar community, they still may have a lot of different choices and different backgrounds when it comes to the songs that they have been exposed to, they've listened to, and maybe that they've especially listened to over the past several months while they've been away from school. So giving them a chance to choose songs and feel that they can bring up some of those choices, very, very important. So we can choose songs. We can choose instruments or sounds that we can add. I brought a couple of things I thought would be fun to include, like, you know, I've got a lot of stuff around my office. I've got tambourines, I've got maracas. Some of the stuff you can make, your kids could even make. I've got, these are from toilet plungers, and they're the sticks that are on the toilet plungers. The plungers are gone now, but I've got the sticks, and I've used these as rhythm sticks for years and actually cut them in half so that I had, out of 2 of these, I get 2 different sets of rhythm sticks. Many, many different objects like that you can use. You can use pencils or pens on a desk and use that to create a sound or create a rhythm. You can make sounds with your voice, especially sounds that are, when they're muffled, you can do all kinds of cool things, and who knows where that sound is coming from. That in itself could be kind of a fun kind of scavenger hunt. You can also choose lyrics. You can choose lyrics that mean more to you than maybe what's actually in the song, or you could choose lyrics that talk to you because they're in the song. So you can subtract lyrics, you can add lyrics, you can change lyrics. A song like American Authors, Best Day of My Life. Okay, what would be the best day of your life? Some people, for a lot of us, that would be real different from what we might have said 6 months ago when it seemed like everything was open. So what would be the best thing right now? And how could we substitute those lyrics to make that happen? We could say them, we could hum them, we could say them in back of our masks and do that while the song is going on, and then just all hum through the chorus of the song. Or we could just write some songs. We don't necessarily need to sing them right now, but we could write some songs with that lyric substitution so that we have an opportunity to express ourselves. But we can choose those lyrics. We can choose them. Music gives us a sense of community. I know we all know this. I mean, you can go to a restaurant, you can go to a bar, you can go to a country jam, you can go to a concert somewhere, and you know that music creates that kind of community. The shared music experience is absolutely one of the most intense experiences that we can have. And we know that because we'll hear a song in a certain environment, and then we hear that song years later even, and we are just enveloped in the same place. We remember the people, we remember the smells, we remember the tastes, we remember all of the lyrics that have not been in the forefront of our mind for decades, but all of a sudden we're transported, kind of like Star Trek, to this other place because we had this really meaningful shared music experience. It could be singing, it could be dancing, it could be listening and humming. It doesn't necessarily have to be performing. In fact, it probably isn't performing. Most of this isn't. I skipped ritual. I want to talk about ritual though. Ritual is something that for so many of us really benchmarks our lives. You have a birthday and somebody sings happy birthday. It's a ritual. It's something that we kind of expect, we anticipate. When you go to a wedding and you hear "Here Comes the Bride," or you hear some other song that brings the bride down. Another song where the bride and the groom leave. Songs associated with certain holidays, Christmas, Labor Day, patriotic songs, the Star-Spangled Banner, those types of songs from other countries that are ritualistic or add to the ritual for another culture. All of those types of things can be really useful to establishing and to strengthening community. If your classroom has those songs from the last slide, we were talking about choice, you choose a song to start and a song to end, all of a sudden your community has been enhanced because you now are developing a ritual, a way to open, a way to close, maybe even a way to have lunch, maybe a way to transition from one thing to the next. Rhythmic play and chants. Chants would be things that you would say, you wouldn't have to sing it. If everybody is saying it in the room, they don't have to be talking very loudly to do it. And if they don't have to be talking loudly, then we're safe doing that at the distance that we keep. Rhythmic play, doing things with, as I was saying earlier, maybe playing on the desktop with your hands or with pens or pencils, and everybody creating different types of rhythms. It might be something that somebody just does a 1, 2, 3, 4, and then people add to that. And eventually, it's amazing how if you keep this steady beat going, a lot of you can find a metronome app on your phone where you can keep this happening. People will add, and students will create amazing rhythms. And a lot of times they will create things that are running off of what they hear somebody else doing. So they're not just doing, everybody isn't doing their own thing in their own little cell here. They're creating and they're cooperating and they're working with other people. They're involved and they're understanding what other people are doing, and they're trying to kind of merge and mesh with them. That kind of community is essential right now. We need to feel like we have those kinds of community opportunities, which goes along with the idea of cooperation. If we're going to have a beat going like this, people are going to somehow respond to that beat. Taking risks has to do with playing instruments. It has to do with humming. It has to do with making music. When you're working with younger children, up through probably close to older elementary age, they probably really enjoy doing music. They love making music, and they'll participate and they'll jump in and they'll try and they'll suggest things. As you start working with kids that are older, it may take a little bit more to get them to be involved, and you can't push them. You need to just give them their own time to feel comfortable. They may need to just take a look around and develop some trust in their classmates. If you can do this right at the beginning of when your classes first start, you're going to have so much easier time because they're all going to be at a point where they're a little bit off and they're not quite sure what to expect and what to anticipate. So come on with trying something like this. It will not just help them get comfortable in this new community, but it'll help them to develop some respect, tolerance for differing or new opinions and ideas, and taking risks. If those aren't life skills, particularly right now, I don't know what is. But music and the involvement in music in the classroom can help with these skills and can help students develop cooperation. I think so many of us think of music as a solo performer. Solo performers usually have to cooperate, maybe at least with their accompanist. But once they get up on the stage, they kind of do their own thing. The way I use music, and I've used music through my career as a music therapist, is more in this cooperation piece. Let's all come together and figure out a way that we can all take from and put into this music experience. So cooperation is another piece that really can be helpful in working in music. Compromise, we went back earlier, we were talking about choice and making choices about maybe what song we're going to come into, what song we're going to leave to at the end of the day, what songs we might listen to during lunch. Sometimes that might mean that your song isn't going to happen till Thursday. And here it is only Monday. So the patience for waiting until Thursday till it's your song. And there may be some other things involved with that you can do to help those students be patient and wait. Waiting for your turn just when you're doing any kind of music piece, whether you're going to do kind of like a wave, a music wave, everybody's going to go whoa, 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 all the way around the circle. Interesting when you can't see mouths because you've got masks on. Who's doing it? You've got to really be in tune with, be mindful of, and be aware and present so that you know when the person next to you is doing their whoa, you can do your whoa, and then it's the next person. So waiting for your turn to choose a song, waiting for your turn to play an instrument or to be the one to lead a rhythmic activity. All very important and all very useful in terms of life skills. Confidence, I think we all know how music can help us develop confidence, and it really has very little, if anything, at all to do with that traditional professional playing of music. I play the saxophone, that's my major instrument, but you don't see one in my office. Even if I gave you a tour of my office, you would see a couple of guitars, a lot of drums, a ukulele, and a lot of these instruments like you see in the background here. That's where I get my confidence. My confidence has not come from playing the saxophone. It was an okay thing, and I still like playing it, but it's more my own personal thing. Confidence comes from playing or humming an original idea, maybe, and that goes then back to waiting for your turn, patience, and being willing to tolerate other ideas and opinions. So if you have an original idea and it's your turn to demonstrate it, everyone kind of waits for you to do that. Leading the group in music making, maybe you're the one that gives the clapping to start everybody out. Or maybe you're the one that conducts. You know, you don't have to be a trained conductor or maestro with a big stick to do that. You can do that this way. And then when you want everybody to stop, you bring your hands in. And they stop. And then the next person does that. So developing confidence, which is, it kind of goes back to our earlier talk about control, because when you do this and the group stops, not only does that boost your confidence, but it gives you a sense of control. Like you controlled the sound and the stop of the sound. Being able to demonstrate some kind of an idea or a rhythm can also enhance your confidence. That goes along with the first point of playing and humming, but it's, you know, maybe a little bit different. Participating in a group music making ensemble, we've seen countless of these on various platforms that have been done in remote locations, no one in the same room over these past several months. But hopefully we can do more of that in the same room with people just using different types of sound making things, whether it's humming or it's clicking or it's clapping or it's snapping or it's hitting your knees or it's stomping or it's using an instrument of some sort or something that makes a sound. It doesn't have to be a music instrument. I have this great button that some of you probably have seen from Staples for over the years.
That was easy.
And I use that frequently. I also have one of those desk bells that you use when you get to the counter and there's nobody there and they say, just ring the bell. And so I ring the bell, and that can be used as well. So there's lots of different things that you can use that are in our environment, that they don't have to be expensive instruments to actually purchase. When you see or hear your idea demonstrated, performed, or imitated by your classmates, huge boost of confidence, huge boost of confidence. Even if I'm just standing up there or sitting in there in my seat and I go pop, 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 and then everybody responds with the very same. That was my idea. I gave it to them. I was in control, and they reciprocated by responding to it. How amazing. Very cool. You can create those kinds of chants in your classroom. So maybe one person demonstrates a rhythm and then the rest of the class answers it. We used to do those things in class where we try to get everybody to, and then everybody else claps. Same idea, same idea. It shows that you're connected and you're all working as a group. One person gets to be the one that leads that and initiates that, but then everybody else gets to come in. And then maybe another person gets to initiate it, and then everybody comes in. The cool thing about those things is they're nonverbal, and they can be done in a variety of ways and adapted so that kids and older students of a variety of ages and abilities are able to somehow contribute and perform with that. As we get into this now, I want to talk about just some specific ideas. I kind of have alluded to these during this presentation, but I want to focus in on them just a little bit more before I end. Identifying songs which can be used as ritual in your classrooms. Opening song, this is going to be the best day of my life. Maybe it's American Authors, or maybe it's another song that everybody likes, that it's popular, and maybe you have a different song for each day of the week. And then maybe you have a closing song, and maybe it's a different song for each day of the week. Maybe you need 10 of them, and so you have a 2-week rotation. But the idea being that there's so many ways that identifying a song and developing that ritual can involve the kids in feeling like they have some control and some investment in the day, in the school day. They're helping to plan it. Using chants, rap, humming rather than actual singing is just where we're at right now. And hopefully we won't be there for long, but while we are, I think there's ways that we can still do music without full-blown singing. Creating and writing chants that express events and feelings, or maybe the next activity, going from English to math, or going from lunch to science or something like that. And even creating and writing chants that can help with remembering different academic information. You could have groups of students, if they're working in groups of 3 or 4, maybe they can create a chant or a rap that would help them to remember certain words, maybe science words, or maybe words for their English class, or maybe spelling words and spelling of words. Those types of things are also things that we've done forever, but if we're more intentional, we'll be able to use them a little bit more. Rhythm and drum-like, I call drum-like circle, because a lot of you probably don't have a full complement of drums in your classroom. But desks work, buckets work. if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or Menards or let's see, I don't know. Let me see where else have I received mine from. Those are my three main suppliers. You can actually get buckets donated. They'll donate buckets to you. You have buckets, and each person has their own bucket, and you can give them sticks, or they can use pens or pencils, or they can just use their hands and hit the drum, and you can create different types of drum-like circles. You can also just use sticks on their desktops. And if they, depending upon the desktops, if you hit the side, it's going to sound different than if you hit the top. And some may just want to use their legs or their arms, their hands. All of those are options for creating some kind of a unique timbre situation. And maybe you have one or two instruments you could come up with, a tambourine or a couple of maracas, and you'd have one person that uses that, and that person would change. You would have to share that. Obviously, you'll want to clean it between people using it. But that's why I have my handy disinfecting wipes right here. But anyway, getting involved in that kind of thing, so that becomes kind of a cherished thing. That person that's doing that may be the leader, or maybe they have the leading role for something else later in the day. Small groups, I talked about this a little bit, doing theme chants. Maybe if you have groups that are doing actually working with certain group projects, maybe in groups of even 2 or 3 people, because I know we're talking about paring down classrooms that way. Maybe they have a chant that is their chant for their group. That would be a way to help them to identify with even a smaller type of sub-community from the community that's the larger one, and they could all enjoy demonstrating or performing those chants for the larger group so that they could hear them, whether they perform them on a screen or they perform them in an actual live classroom setting. Creating movements, that sitting in the chairs, we know for most of us, regardless of our age, does not sit well for too long. Sit well, any of that. So seated or standing right in back of your chair. So everybody's standing and they're in a place where they are not moving around too much. They have to be able to grab the back of their chair, or they've moved too far. So using the chair as their grounding point and as the definition of the space that they have. So creating movements to recorded music using that, and that may just be for stretching in between classes or in between subjects. So some way to do that as well. And then lastly, and this goes for all ages, but I think probably for some of our older kids, probably more so, doing lyric analysis and discussion, letting kids bring in or suggest songs that you could maybe put up the lyrics on a screen and look at them and see, what are they talking about? Why is this an important song? What kind of a message would this song give to us? And countless artists have been creating and recording and putting out songs in the past few months that really speak to us and what a lot of us are dealing with, going through, and trying to work with as we move through this coronavirus pandemic. A few weeks ago, I had a person ask about a song about wearing masks. And I remembered, I don't know why, but I was thinking, wear your mask. And I was thinking about the song that Raffi did years ago about brush your teeth. And it's 2 in the morning and you're just woke up. You don't know what else to do. You brush your teeth. You brush your teeth. You could look it up. It's called Brush Your Teeth. Raffi, R-A-F-F-I, he did it years and years ago. That song is just screaming for wear your mask, wear your mask. And it could be part of a song getting ready to go to school, and you're getting ready to make sure you have everything you need for school, including wear your mask. So, but lyric analysis and discussion could be much more serious songs and songs that are dealing with current events and feelings that your students could probably come up with. Those wouldn't be things that you necessarily need to find, especially for older students, but some that they might really want to share. And you just need to give them some parameters about appropriateness, language, theme, that kind of thing that that obviously for school setting need to be followed. But definitely some ideas. All right, the last slide. People that you might want to check out. Arthur Hall is the guru of drumming and rhythm circle things. He's got all kinds of videos out. He might even be fun for students to just watch and play along with. In fact, the first 3 or 4, all of these people are probably in the same category. Christine Stevens has done some wonderful videos. Right now she's working with this group called Shift Network, and she's done a couple of webinars. She's got one coming up this week, this weekend. It's a free one for an hour on using the drum as a healing, using drumming as a healing technique. She's got a Facebook page which is full of very short little clips of things that she suggests that you can do. She says if you've got a pan lid or if you've got a spoon in a pan, use that. You don't have to have fancy drums and all that kind of stuff. She is a music therapist, so she does kind of come from the same kind of headset that I do as far as why we do this kind of thing. Kalani Das, also a music therapist, percussion specialist, countless videos that you can access through his Facebook page. And you can also subscribe to his newsletter. And then lastly, a newfound friend. She was one of our clinicians at the Ohio Music Education Association conference last year from Louisville. She's a music teacher. And she also owns her own company called Drum Smart. She's been producing programs daily for elementary age kids to do music in their homes. She opens up her screen with sitting there with pots and pan lids and pans and wooden spoons to create different types of rhythmic games with the kids. And I've had a lot of fun doing some of those things with her. But she also is someone who has a lot of things on Facebook and on YouTube that you could access and maybe look at and duplicate with your students, just for kind of a break. I don't always want to do a lot of screen time stuff because I think a lot of us have done a lot of screen time. In fact, I'm doing a lot right now over the past few months, but sometimes some of that stuff can be useful. I hope that you will find some of what I've said helpful. I did include on the very first slide my email. I'm at Baldwin Wallace. It's the easiest email ever. Letter L, K-A-Y, it's my last name, at bw.edu. Please email me if you have a question. Please email me if you'd like to make a suggestion that someone else might be able to use. Please email me with anything like that. If you want me to take a look at something specific that you're concerned with or that you'd like to try or you'd like an idea, I'd be more than happy to try to work with you. As the OMEA special learners person, I've traveled all across the state visiting classrooms and been involved with music teachers and classroom teachers over the years. Don't think I can do so much of that right now, but can certainly from a distance try to be helpful and be supportive, because I think that music is one of those things that kids have at home and they can have at school. So it's going to create that bridge or that transition to fulfill all of those Maslow hierarchy of needs pieces that I presented at the very beginning. Hope this helps. I'm Lalene K, and you are all awesome.